BBC News with Sue Montgomery. More than 2,000 people are now known to have died in the devastating earthquake which struck Morocco on Friday night. 3 days of national mourning have been declared. Nick Beake reports.
Remote communities in the Atlas Mountains near the epicentre bore the brunt of the quake. It was here the greatest damage was done and the most lives lost. Entire villages are said to have been flattened, with families trapped in the rubble of their homes. The emergency services are finding it difficult to reach these areas as roads have been blocked by landslides. The armed forces have been mobilised to help. Morocco bears the scars of previous earthquakes. In 1960, more than 12,000 people were killed in Agadir and the town had to be rebuilt. This quake is stronger than that one and is thought to be the country's worst in modern times.
The second day of the G20 summit will begin in a few hours' time with a ceremony at the memorial of Mahatma Gandhi, India's independence leader. World leaders attending the summit will lay a wreath at the Rajghat Monument in Delhi before taking part in the final sessions of the two-day event. On Saturday, the G20 issued a joint declaration which, in its statement on the war in Ukraine, made no mention of Russian aggression. Paul Adams reports on Kyiv's reaction to the statement.
The government here sounds unimpressed by the G20's language on the war. Oleg Nikolenko, a spokesman for the Foreign Ministry, said the group had nothing to be proud of, although he did thank those members who had tried to insert stronger wording. Like a teacher correcting a pupil's homework, Mr. Nikolenko reproduced the G20's text, complete with corrections in red. Every reference to the war in Ukraine, he changed to the war against Ukraine. And he included a reference to Russian aggression, a word used in a G20 statement last November, but conspicuously absent this time.
The declaration also faced criticism over its commitment to accelerate action to tackle climate change without promising to phase out fossil fuels. British counter-terrorism police have confirmed that 2 men were arrested earlier this year on espionage charges. Gordon Carrera has more details.
A man in his 30s was detained in Oxfordshire and a second man in his 20s was held in Edinburgh, with searches at their residences and a third address in East London. The identity of the researcher and who they work for in Parliament has not been made public, although they were reported by the Sunday Times to have had some contact with Tom Tugendhat before he became Security Minister, and Alicia Kearns, who's chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee. This summer, Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee issued a report warning that the government had been slow to come to terms with the security risks posed by China.
BBC News. There have been further protests in Israel against the government's radical overhaul of the judiciary, ahead of a key hearing by the Supreme Court on Tuesday. Thousands of protesters took to the streets in Tel Aviv on Saturday, with many blocking traffic on the main highway. Demonstrations were also held in other cities, including Jerusalem, by those who say the plans undermine democracy. With the vote count about to be concluded in the Maldives presidential elections, the incumbent Ibrahim Mohamed Saleh is trailing behind his main opponent, the mayor of Male, Mohamed Muizzu. The two will face each other in a runoff later this month. Preliminary results show Mr. Saleh getting a little more than 39% of the votes cast, while Mohamed Muizzu leads with just over 46%. The Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival has gone to the British-made Poor Things, a black comedy directed by Yorgos Lanthimos from Greece and starring Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe and Mark Ruffalo. Here's Kat Wiener.
The film tells the story of a woman reanimated after suicide by a doctor who replaces her brain with that of her unborn baby. Accepting the prestigious award, which is often seen as a predictor of Oscar glory, director Yorgos Lanthimos paid tribute to the film's main star, Emma Stone, who, like many others, was absent from the festival due to the ongoing Hollywood writers' and actors' strikes. The Best Acting awards went to Kaylee Spaney, who played the former wife of Elvis Presley in the film Priscilla, and Peter Sarsgaard for the family drama Memory.
Tennis, and the American teenager Coco Gauff has won the Women's US Open final, her first Grand Slam title. The 19-year-old battled back after losing the first set to her opponent, Aryna Sabalenka, sparking wild celebrations at the Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York. BBC News.